Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Angel of Words, and thank you for joining us on these trainings on how to start a dope audio or visual podcast in just one day. Now, the reason I am doing this training is because I love podcasting. It has been so much fun. It has been an incredible journey, and I would like for you to come on this journey with me as well. The podcast industry is estimated to generate $2 billion in revenue in 2022. Yes, you heard right, $2 billion in revenue. Now, I am from the projects. I come from a low-income family. And what I've noticed in the podcast game is that a lot of people that have started to podcast have had pretty decent income. However, you don't need pretty decent income to start your own podcast. And I'm going to show you how you can start your podcast with little to no resources at all. It starts with your vision. And my first question to you listening to me right now, what is the reason you want to start a podcast? Why do you want to get your voice out there and get your story heard? Because it is paramount that you know why. Because it leads to your brand. And the first thing we are going to cover today is branding. Why is branding so important, and what does that mean? Now, branding is your vision, your personality in the form of creatives, in the form of your podcast, in the form of the way you represent your podcast out to the public. So this video will cover branding because it is essential that before you even start, you think about your vision and you think about the branding. Branding is important because it's the way that you express yourself through your creatives. It will help you to monetize your podcast faster. It will make you stand out from the rest. And with so many hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there in the universe, you want to make sure that you're giving the podcast space your own unique touch. It is imperative that before you start a podcast, that is what you do. Now you go, Angel. Now you say, Angel, how do I go about branding myself? What steps do I take? First, when it comes to podcasting, you have to know why you want to start a podcast. It is paramount that you write this down. I started my own podcast and I made the same mistake. I knew that I was a professional journalist that wanted to keep interviewing people, but I did not know why I wanted to start a podcast. And I started one anyway because it's something I really wanted to do, but I still didn't have the why when I started. If you have the why, you're already off to a great start. Number 2, when you go to start a podcast, let's say you know why you want to do it, make sure that the topic of your podcast, the concept of your podcast is absolutely positively as specific as it can be. The more specific you are, the easier it's gonna be for you to attract your tribe, your people, and the people that want to sponsor your podcast, because they're out there. They just want to see a person who's being uh, on point. They want to see a person who is taking this seriously, and they want to see a person who knows who their tribe is. Now, what do I mean by being specific with your concept? That means that you need to know exactly what your podcast is about when you put that description on the platform you're going to be releasing your podcast on. So, for example, my podcast, when I started it, was all over the place. It was about interviewing professionals from all walks of life and asking about the trials and tribulations, about their come up. That is not going to work. One of our co-producers told me that, and now once I was able to let the ego go, let it slide, my first vision didn't work out, I was able to what they call niche down, break down to a T what your podcast is going to be about. So now my podcast is about up and coming musicians and the stories of their trials and tribulations in the music game, and everything that surrounds what they are doing to try to become successful with live performances at the end. Super specific. Now, you ask yourself, okay, great. That's fantastic. Good for you. How do I do that for myself? All right. Let's say that you're a person that, you're growing up in a low income neighborhood, and you want to start a podcast about the projects, right? All right. So if you're going to start a podcast about the projects, you can't be going to turn up in the Hamptons and then start interviewing people that are from the Hamptons or discussing things that happen in the Hamptons. It's just not going to relate. You're going to lose the people you love. So if you're going to start a project called Life in the Jacks or Life in the Projects, whatever the case may be, you have to make sure that you cater all of your content to things that happen in the projects. You have to be specific. And the people that market products and services to those spaces will come holler at you because you have a dope podcast that's about life in the projects. You have to be specific. I cannot say that enough. Each and every one of your listeners has to have, in my opinion, a minimum of 5 characteristics that they all have in common. So think about that before you put pen to paper or type your description in your podcast platform that you're going to use to put your podcast out there. It is absolutely paramount. Why? Because when you do that, you will be able to monetize easier. People will reach out to you faster. Your tribe will come to you faster because they're like, oh, this is what this is about. Boom, I'm going there. This is no longer the era of cable and TV running what we are consuming in the media. We go and consume whatever we want, and people like what they like. Believe it or not, people are very particular about what they like, and they will binge watch the hell out of something that they like. So that's why being specific is so important, because people will gravitate to you. They will fall in love with your content, and they will spread the word out to other people they feel are into the same exact type of content. So remember, be specific. Make sure that when you write that description about your podcast and you come up with your concept, that these people that what you're creating is made for a particular type of viewer. It will help you a ton. I recently just went through a transformation, and trust me, 2 years and some change of not really having a niche hurt me a lot, and I don't want you to be hurt. You can start off better than I did. Now, I want to get into branding, the creative, the artistic side of it. In my opinion, you must have a color palette. It is imperative that you know what your team colors are. I suggest go with 3 colors. My brand colors are black, red, and mermaid blue. It is paramount that you choose your color scheme wisely and cater to what you see in your mind, because you're gonna have to create artwork for your podcast, and you want to make sure that when people think about whatever your podcast is called, they think about your brand colors. I am in the game, and people know me for the mermaid blue. They know that AOW. They know that that upside down A with the halo over the top. Angel is somewhere here. Angel of Words Entertainment is in the building. You want to make sure that you have that in your arsenal. It helps to build your brand and make you different, unique compared to everyone else that is doing it. It is paramount that you do that. You also want to create a logo. You may go, yo, Ains, but I don't have any graphic design experience. My logo did not look like this when I first started. You make the concept, you run with it, and it evolves as you evolve as a content creator. So you start, don't worry, your money will be coming in. You know, let's say you don't have a job right now, boom, don't worry about that. Because you're doing this and because you're serious about making a podcast, you are going to blow up and you are going to find ways to make money in order for you to evolve with your branding. But you can start branding yourself with no money. Trust me, because you're going to need to create album artwork to make a podcast. And lucky for you, because I care about you guys so much, I'm going to tell you exactly where you need to go right now to start your branding journey. I want you right now to follow me to the magical place we call CANVA.com. CANVA.com. It is a magical place where you can brand yourself and choose all those options I just finished discussing, those colors, and make those logos for free. Yeah, you heard it, for free. And I want you to know that everything we discuss right now, today, I will leave in a PDF file so that you can just click, go, and move. But right now, we're going into the magical place of CANVA. Remember, be specific with your concept of your podcast. Make sure you know why you are starting your podcast. And don't be afraid if you do not have any resources monetarily. You do not need any money to start your own podcast.